Hello and welcome. This is the Love Lady channel. I'm so happy to be with you today. I am doing my very best today in this sharing to ask the monad, my guides, the spirit guides team, everybody on board here, to help me share something that is deeply personal to my own experience. And that is the idea of making the inside of my true self visible externally. Now, you might think because I show up in these episodes talking about my own experience, but also any messages for the collective and for anybody on a love journey, that it would be easy for me to be transparently who I am in the world. And in some ways, this is true. In a lot of ways, I'm very uncompromising about being who I truly am in most situations. But there is also a lot that I hide. There is a lot that I selectively share or don't with nearly everybody. There are my most intimate circle of people know everything about me. But there are, a lot of things that I keep very close to the vest, that I keep inside, that I don't share or make public. And that is pragmatic in some ways, right? There's a practical safety and security mechanism around being conscious and discerning about that which I'm sharing and that which I'm keeping private. However, there is also an element of wanting to protect my ego, wanting to protect that fragile self-image that I have worked so hard to create in my own mind, that is incomplete, right? I am not the story of this person that I tell myself in my own head. I'm much more than that. You are not the story that you tell yourself you are in your own head. You are much more than that. And so what I've asked the guides to come through and share today is just some ideas for how to make it a little smoother and easier, and maybe even kind of how to trick oneself into being inappropriate and safe-ish situations, to be more transparent, to be more vulnerable, to be more truly who I am, and for you to be more truly and openly who you are. And this is so important in matters of love, of friendship, of intimacy, in relationships where it is vital that you are your true self, so that the person on the other side of that relationship can love your true self. It's vital that they are their true selves so that you can love them in as much completeness as we can allow ourselves, with also, the always paradoxical caveat that we are also always changing. We are also always evolving. We are also always sort of discovering our own expansion and then expanding more. We're discovering all these beautiful, hidden to us and maybe hidden period aspects of ourselves, humanity, our collective, our life experience, that then inform and change and become part of who we are. And those are an invitation to share more. This is one thing that I do notice in my marriage, is that my husband and I both are continually changing and evolving in such fascinating ways that it is like discovering new colors in our relationship. It's like discovering, new aspects of this person that I didn't know existed, and some of them don't delight me, to be fair. And some of the aspects of me, I think, don't delight him. And then others really do. So there are those aspects of ourselves that take a minute take a little bit of exploration to fall in love with, to accept, to embrace, to decide are okay. And then to sort of incorporate into the beautiful, colorful tapestry of light that we all are. All right, so some ways to make this a little bit easier. And it's fun to do this in this way where I'm listening for myself and I'm also listening for you. So we're going on this ride together. So the first thing that they're suggesting is that becoming more transparently who you are in the world, being more vulnerable and open and sharing who you are is inevitably going to lead to rejection. And so just as an 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 element or an aspect or a perspective on this to take into dipping your toes into this water is that this is a healing practice at its essence, right? It is also a clearing practice because do you really want to be in relationship with people who don't accept you? Really, for who you are? You don't need to be loved for a face you're putting on in the world. That doesn't help, and in fact, makes it more difficult to feel accepted and loved and cherished and part of the relationship that you're having, but also part of any kind of larger community, right? And so there is a plucking up of your own fortitude, your own internal strength. There is a healing of your own perspective on yourself that is required before you're sharing yourself and aspects of yourself and the quirky bits of yourself and your oddities perhaps, or things that you think are odd or things that you find unusual that you think other people might judge, and they might, and some will for sure. And so there is an element of going into this knowing that you're inviting people to reject you based upon being more honestly who you are, and that is going to probably hurt in some ways, but the people who it lands with, the people who are able to meet you in your fullness will delight in knowing these other aspects of you, will delight in the depth that you're bringing to the relationship, will delight in the unique curiosities that make you you, right? Those nuances that are uniquely, specially you. So that's the first thing. Know you're going to be rejected, push through anyway. And do your very best to not reject yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you are comfortable and happy with who you truly are internally, and you can start to share those things externally, you can handle some rejection. And in fact, you kind of want to invite it. I mean, how many people can you actually be friends with? Right? Actually be in a relationship with, or an intimate relationship. And again, this is where some discernment comes in. Like, you do not need to share your whole self with everybody like I do. You do not need to share the complete story of who you are internally with everybody. You can be very selective and only share those deepest parts of yourself, those tender, most vulnerable parts of yourself with people who you genuinely want to have an intimate relationship with, or who you do have an intimate relationship with, that it's required for the honesty between you, for that connection of love between you to continue to deepen, which we want, and to love them and for them to love you more fully. The second thing that they suggest to me, and this is interesting, specific to me, but they're also saying, no, this will also appeal to anybody listening. One perspective to take on the sharing of your true self, your unique, beautiful, internal self, that there's only one of you, is to try to look at it, or to look at it like you are teaching other people how to be open. This is not a natural thing to do, particularly in Western society. We spend a lot, well, they're telling me no, generally among most human societies, this is just not a natural thing, right? We layer a lot of rules and manners, and we we project a lot of expectations about how we need to behave and how we need to think and how we need to learn and how we need to speak and how we need to relate and understand each other. And while absolutely honoring the humanity and divinity and sovereignty of another person, of other people, is just a basic prerequisite to being a full human being, meeting another full human being, there is also a wide range of acceptable perspectives, like an unlimited range of acceptable perspectives on how one sees life and how one wants to do life and how one wants to engage with life and other people. And our business isn't to try to police or monitor or change how other people are trying to do life, as much as it is to meet those other people and their full humanity as much as we can and acknowledge and honor their existence. Now, I'm raising an objection in my mind, like, well, okay, except we're in kind of some interesting political times here, and there's a lot going on in that way. And what they're reminding me is, for the purposes of this moment, this channeling, this message, we're talking about people who you want to have intimate relationship with. We are not talking about engaging with the masses or people who you disagree with on fundamental levels, or people who don't know you, right? Now, this is relevant to people who you want to have an intimate relationship with, who might be in your family with whom you disagree. And opening up in vulnerability with those people, again, it requires a little bit of discernment. Is this a person who can safely receive your openness? And to what depth of intimacy is this person willing and able to engage in with themselves, which is what enables them to meet you? And vice versa. What level of your own depths are you willing to bring forward and make vulnerable and share with this other person? And which is wise. And again, this is also, they keep reminding me, this is a learning experience, right? But also it's a teaching one. You're being willing to be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more available, a little bit more open, sharing what is really true for you, mostly around what you love, what you cherish, your optimism, your joy, how you see life, how you see other people, what you choose to focus your attention on that you love, that brings you joy and happiness. If you are engaged in relationships that are kind of centered on complaining and talking about what's wrong and and looking at that which you don't want, this can be a bit of an adjustment, because that doesn't help someone know you. That just helps them know what you're not. So allowing yourself to share what is more deeply true for you, what you more deeply love, what you more deeply care about, what you more deeply focus on. And for me, that is love and spirituality and these amazing spiritual beings who are always around me and helping me is a really tender thing for me to share. In part because it's still a mystery to me. I mean, there's a lot of mystery in life, which is what makes it rich and beautiful and wonderful. Also, it makes it a little bit challenging to share. There's an aspect of my personality that really wants things to be black and white. And my husband would laugh uproariously at that statement, because he would be nodding and saying, yes, that's absolutely true about you. You do like to have things black and white, and you don't like to sit in the gray areas at all, which is true. I do like to know the answer to something and move out on that with clarity and crispness and certainty. But the truth is, the further evolved I become, the more paradox there is, and the more one thing is true and the other is also true, and the more mysterious it becomes, and the more mysterious the body becomes, and the more mysterious relationships become. And so I'm learning to fall in love with the mystery and share that I am often in the mystery, as clear as I'm able to be for others, and often for myself, and as clear as the guides are able to be as well. And so finally, they are reminding me that not only can we all do this, can we share our true selves, but that is truly also why we're here. Oh, there is literally only one unique being that is you. There's one. In a sea of billions and billions and billions and billions of people. In the masses of humanity, there's one of you. One. Nobody has your exact configuration. Nobody has your exact perspective. Extraordinary, right? That's amazing to think about. And so they're also reminding me, you've got a spiritual team. And no matter what you believe, right? No matter what your belief system about how the energy field, the milieu, the spirit, the monad, all of the interconnected aspects and elements of the love light, the life force, whatever it is that works for you. Again, this is part of your unique perspective and what you bring and what you can share and what you must share with those people who you love, who you want to love you, in order to dig deeper and to engage with just as much curiosity about yourself and like how you got to be like this as much as you do for them. And let it be as playful and as curious and as delightful and as surprising as you can manage. And that is their final message, is to really do try to keep it light. Do call on them for help and assistance in clarifying whatever you need clarified, in giving you the little nudge forward to share a little something. They'll intuitively drop into your consciousness in the right moment what is safe to share with this other person, or what is, a good leading idea. Do try to not overwhelm people with all of a sudden, like a massive amount of sharing if you've come from not at all. So sort of, you know, be a bit pragmatic and a bit measured about how you teach people, invite them into the conversation, and together we're healing, dancing, playing, loving forward. I hope this has been useful and helpful. It has been to me. Thank you. Uh, thank you, love light, monad, spirit guides, all of the above. And until next time, I wish you a love-filled day, a love-filled week, and a love-filled life.